Hi there. Can people see me? If anybody is even there. Awesome. We'll just give it a minute and we'll see what happens, what pops up. How come anytime I go on somebody else's stream, I can easily look up how many people are watching like that? But if I'm trying to look at how many people are watching on my own thing, I don't know. Ah, I am here with my friend Dave Deacon on a Skype chat. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear him, but exactly. Say something if you can hear him. Is this nice and squared away on me here? Yeah. All right, cool. So no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to show it there. I'll show it like that. So did you happen to take a peek at that list that I sent you? Cool. Tonight we will be talking people who play God and the devil in film and TV. And preferably the devil, because that's the one that's easiest to find the most actors who have played them. And it's the more fun, let's admit it. So, see, this is the first time I'm doing this without my sister-in-law here sitting next to me, so it's hard not having somebody to look right at. But that is what that is. Yep. You're here to moderate the chat and to talk at me. So when I have these long, awkward silences, you can help me fill it, even if they can't hear it. How's the weather over there in England? Windy. You know how cold the states have had it lately? I mean, not right now, but somewhat recently. Yeah, Chicago was -25 Fahrenheit, and I don't know if you do Fahrenheit or Celsius over there, but it's like I always have to look it up because I have somebody in Austria who will tell me, "Oh, it's 32 here," and I'm like, "Oh, that's nothing," and I look it up, and it's like, "Well, actually, it's a lot. It's 104 my scale." I'm like, "Holy crap!" And that's in the shade. I'm like, "Are you sure you live in Austria?" All right, so why don't we start somewhere simple? I know I just started watching the show Lucifer finally. I gave in to my husband and started watching that. And Epic, how are you doing? You made it to his stream. That's awesome. uh, Epic, you'll have to tell me if you can hear Deus's voice. I have him on a Skype chat, and I don't know how to attach it to my live stream, so you might not be able to hear him. It might just be me. Have you seen anything about the show Lucifer, Andy? No? All right. This is true. It doesn't seem to be your cup of tea at all. But it turns out it is my cup of tea. And explains why we're friends a little bit, because obviously I like a Welsh accent. Tom Ellis is quite charming. Okay. All right. Well, we'll try and figure that out somehow. And I'm sure you have the chat room in front of you too, so you can always add to that if you want. Or all that. So actually Epic, I think on Discord the other day we were talking. Did you mention I remember we were talking about this subject, but I don't remember if you said whether you'd seen Lucifer the show itself or not. And just so you know, Andy, I find it interesting because in this show, he's he's left hell and he's just kind of gallivanting and doing his own thing. And then they pull basically an Edward Cullen Bella Swan type thing where he meets this cop that is invulnerable to his devilish charms. Yes. Ah, well, you're ahead of me then, because I'm only like 5 episodes into season one. I haven't watched it in like a week because my son's had full control of my TV. But yeah, so and he ends up being interested in her, and he's like more attracted to her in a way because what the hell? It's like every single female who even sees me up the block wants to screw me. What's with this girl who completely oblivious to my charms? And so he's intrigued by that, and he ends up getting his fingers into a lot of her cases, and he ends up working as kind of a with like a partner, like an unofficial partner, like maybe a liaison or something. Ah, yes, a consulting detective. And like I said, I'm not very far into it yet, but he's got this like demon child girl that's kind of his bodyguard. I think her name is Maze. I forget what it's short for. And she wants to go back to him. Yeah, no, it's short for it's got a little demonic slash angel type name. And then there's this Angel happens to be being played by a black guy who's on the other side. They talk about dad, so it's kind of like his brother, but he's not fallen. And he just wants him to go back to hell too, because work is not getting done the way it's supposed to be getting work. He's not. Mazikeen, thank you, Epic. Oh yes. See, I'm horrible with the names. I couldn't even. You know how I'm kind of a fan of the the YouTuber Decker Shadow. It's like you would think I'd be able to remember that the detective's name is Chloe Decker, but no, for some reason I can never remember that. I needed to ask my husband like 6 times this week. Like, what's the name? And then I thought the name Chloe was the name of the little girl instead of well, they call her Trixie, but her name's not Trixie. It's Beatrix or something like that. So yeah, and of course, it's him getting to know her and wanting to see justice done, like he would in hell, except from a better point of view. Um, it's changing him, and it's making everybody very nervous. Because they're like, you can't change the devil. Everything changes if you change the devil. So that's as far as I've really gotten. You know, but I'm having a lot of fun with that. I can't say he's one of my favorite devils, though. Uh, I know one of your favorites is Peter Stormare. Okay, one of them, right? Sorry, it sounds like that's what you're saying when you say it. Sorry. Strom- oh, okay, fair enough. Stromara. Okay, Stomara. And so I like him in Constantine. I like the relish he plays it with. It makes me think of Anthony as Lecter. Yeah, it's like very much the thing. It's like he even does it, doesn't he? Doesn't he literally do something almost exactly like that? Yeah. Yeah, it's so similar. Uh, do you have other favorite devils or you up there? Yeah. All right, you did share a clip of the show with me, but it wasn't didn't have him in that clip, I don't think. Okay, got to be able, got it. All right, cool. So he plays a devilish equivalent. Like people who get it wrong and think that Hades is a devil equivalent, but we'll just use that for now. Yeah, okay, perfect. Okay. I do want to see that. Unfortunately, I don't have any access to it, and I forgot to see if it's on Hulu. Oh, amazing. Wonderful. Let's see. I've got a whole list, as you know, of I looked a lot of these up. So some of these people I put on the list just like, oh, that person played the devil or that person played God. That's kind of cool. But some of them I have seen. If I've never heard of them or the movie, I just left it alone because when it came to the list of devils, there were like 180. We were obviously weren't going to go like, oh, this guy played the devil in Haxan. Well, who the hell is it? I don't know silent movies. I haven't seen it, so. But one of the first ones that took me off guard was Fred Astaire. He played Mr. Lucifer in 1962. And it's like, you know me, I like musicals, so it's like if that's a musical version, that's a blast. I love Fred Astaire. Well, I don't love Fred Astaire. I haven't actually seen much with him in it. The only thing I can name off the top of my head was a TV remake live airing of Cinderella, like Oscar and Hammerstein's Cinderella. And he was like the king, so he was the future father-in-law. So unfortunately, that's like all I could really go with that one. But it just he's an amazing singer, actor, dancer, so that'd be cool. I haven't seen even a clip of this one, but apparently Daniel Baldwin, the other least known Baldwin brother, played him in something called Little Red Devil in 08. As you know, David Boreanaz in The Crow Wicked Prayer. Do you want to go over that real quick at all? I actually watched your review of that again recently. But yeah, I can repeat stuff the best I can. All right, he's made a career of playing dual characters. He's talking about David Boreanaz. That's right. Yeah, okay, he played Angel. Yeah. Okay. All right. So he play. Yeah. Okay. So he's just popular for his dual roles. Can't talk. Understood. Enzo, hush. The dogs upstairs are going nuts, so my dog's reacting. Come here. Come lay down. Lie down. Good boy. All right. Now I can't even repeat that. You said he was doing better when he was basically playing the evil one versus the other role he was. Okay. Yeah. Then we've got I kept this one on the list because for one thing, he doesn't only play the devil, he also plays God in the same movie. But then I mentioned him to my mom, and she said it's one of her favorites from back then. Is George Burns, because George Burns, and it's like I don't even know if I can name anything George Burns has been in, even though I know the name perfectly goddamn well, But he's played God 3 times in Oh God Book 2, and Oh God, You Devil. And of course, in Oh God, You Devil is when he also played the devil. But I couldn't find any clips of it. So, I mean, I can't comment too much about that, unfortunately. I haven't seen it. Let me see. We have Gabriel Byrne, 1999, End of Days. This was kind of my introduction to Gabriel Byrne, even though I'd seen things with him in it. 99, I was 16, 17 years old, so I was a hormonal teenager. End of Days came out. That one made me stand up and pay attention. Because have you seen End of Days? Yeah, probably a long time ago. Yeah, okay. Because he has a hell of an introduction in that one. I don't know if you remember, but he plays like an architect, and he doesn't really have any lines at first. And he says hi to somebody. He's like eating dinner in a restaurant. He goes into the restroom, and that's when the devil overtakes his body.
Yeah.
And he comes out, and he just grabs a woman by her hair. He yanks her head back. He shoves his hand down her blouse and just like tongue kisses her, and then he pulls back. He's like, and then he walks. Then he just walks out, and everybody's looking like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
And he's a very sensual devil, and he plays it like that. I mean, there's the scene with him and that was Winona in that movie, right? No, it's the short hair. The girl who played Christine York, anyway. Sorry, it's been so long since I've actually watched it. Oh, okay. I wouldn't have known that if you hadn't said that. Yeah, the one who might be in the possible sequel coming up for The Craft. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the girl who played Sarah in The Craft. Got it. They have that weird dream that she has where it's like the sex scene where everything's like melding together like clay.
Yeah.
It's like that was a role for me to sit up and pay attention to. Yeah, well, we're all teenagers at some point in time. Lon Chaney Jr. played him in The Devil in 1959 and 1961 in 13 Demon Street and The Devil's Messenger. I haven't seen either of those. I haven't found clips, unfortunately, but I'm a fan of a fan. So even though this is his son, I'm always interested in looking up stuff that that Lon Chaney Jr. I was thinking Jr. has been in. I said George because I was actually thinking I had seen Lon Chaney Jr. in one thing, and it was Of Mice and Men. So I was not thinking clearly, obviously, or mixing my thoughts up, I should say. Again, a movie I haven't seen. In 1981, The Devil and Max Devlin. I added this because I was like, yep, that sounds about right at this point in time with the way life has gone. Bill Cosby.
Yes. Very prophetic.
Very prophetic, you're right. And I did get to see a scene of that on YouTube. And he's like, there's a little like greasy spoon diner. And a guy looks up, and Bill Cosby's sitting across from him, and they start having this conversation, but he's like yelling at him to go away, and why are you here? And people are turning around looking at him, and finally Cosby just goes, they can't see me. So he's telling Bill Cosby's devil how he's nuts, and he needs, and it's like he's the one that looks nuts because nobody else can see him. But and I want to say that this is because Bill Cosby happens to also be a rather talented actor. I mean, he must be a rather talented actor to get away with it for so long. But I want to say it's more because of his acting skill than hindsight. But he really does seem to pull off that air of menace, even though he's not doing anything in particular. But it could be one or the other, and it could be both. So there were times when Bill scared me when I was little, even though they were comedies. I was too little to understand comedies. So I saw that clip of The Forbidden Zone from 1980 with Danny Elfman, and I don't even know how to describe that. Oh my God, how does one describe that scene? He's wearing basically a white tux with long tails, long formal tail, with the horns coming out of his forehead, and he is basically Liberace. You're absolutely right.
Who are you talking to?
I'm live, Vinny. I'm talking to Andy. You stay in there, please. You say hi from right there, please.
Stop.
Please. You can say hi real quick, but you stay right. You've got a fan, Andy. What can I say? But yeah, I had been listening to it more than I'd been watching it. So when I shared it in the Discord the other day, I watched it again, and then I went, "Oh my god, it's much more extreme than I realized." Because I'm like, "Oh, this is Danny Elfman music, creepy and jazzy and fun," and I was listening to that more than the words or seeing what was going on screen. And I'm like, he's totally groping that bare-breasted woman, and he's taking her away to get pumped, seriously badly pumped. That's not fun. That's not good. It's like all of a sudden this has got completely different context. I saw a clip from '87 with Robert Englund in Married with Children. That was a funny little scene. It wasn't anything particularly special, but it was fun, just a little comedic scene where it was out of context. So I don't know if Al was having a near-death experience or if it was a dream. 87, I'm pretty sure he probably would have been in at least the second movie by then. I'd have to look at the order that the movies came out. Okay. I mean, you want before he was Freddy, he was in a movie called Eaten Alive. He had a small role. He was a pervert in that one. Yeah. And I know it didn't take very long for them to come out with the second one, but so it was after, because yeah, he said Nightmare came out in '84, so this is 3 years later. And yeah, I mean, he's 80, the scene where he played the devil, the year he played the devil. Yeah, kind of makes sense because he was showing off more of his comedic stuff by then in '87. Because even though he was still scary in Nightmare 3, he was starting to get more quippy. So that makes a lot of sense. I had to write down Jeff Goldblum, and I did see a scene of this, and I was like, it's Jeff Goldblum. It's Jeff Goldblum. He's playing a intimidating role, and he can play an intimidating role fine, but it's Jeff Goldblum. In 1990, he played it in Mr. Frost, and I don't know what to do with that. I'm like, I'm sure if I saw the whole movie, it would have better context, but it's hard to tell. Shh. Remember, we made a deal. I'm always making deals with him, and he never. All right, a very, very new one I'm dying to see. Lance Henriksen in 2018 was in a movie called West of Hell. I've only seen the trailer, obviously, and all I can think is Devil with Spurs, because it looks like a Western fantasy horror. And if anybody can play the devil that I haven't seen play the devil yet, it's probably Lance Henriksen. But I've got a fondness for him that, I don't know if you understand or not. So, whatever. Yeah, he's awesome. Roddy McDowell, I thought people would be interested in just because people love Fright Night, and he was in Fright Night. But that was in Fantasy Island, just so people know. Roddy McDowell played the devil in Fantasy Island. And it says from... Huh? Did I pass him? Whoopsies. That's what I get for getting a magnifier. All right, yes, Christopher Lee was in a movie called Poor Devil in 1973. I haven't seen anything about this one. It's killing me because if there was one person I want to see play the devil, period, it's Christopher freaking Lee. I mean, we're never going to get anything else from him. I need to see this. I've seen him play an evil priest, an evil rapist priest, actually. But I've never seen him play the devil. Malcolm McDowell played the devil, so that's another one that's like, oh my god, that's got to be amazing. This was in Suing the Devil in 2011. And the scene I saw very much made me think Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. The you can't handle the truth thing. Yeah, it made me think of that. I was like, somebody's been taking lessons from Jackie Boy. But, it's obviously in a very different context, but he's still doing very much the same thing. You're going all staticky right now, just so you know. Yeah, that's what I wrote. I wrote Jack Nicholson rip off anyone? Brilliant speech though, because he talks about what's wrong with humans, and then he says, and as we're here and the world is coming to an end outside, let me admit something to you. I hate you all. And then that's where the clip ended. Your mic is acting up a little bit, unfortunately. Are you still there, Epic? The noise went away. Can I still hear you? Yes, I can. Awesome. Just wondering. Where did I leave? Oh, here's our one of our joint favorites, Andy. Viggo Mortensen in The Prophecy, 1995. He's got to be my absolute favorite devil on screen, probably of all time so far. Like the actual devil. That is my friend Mo. How you doing, Mo? Oh, that's damn right. He's at the bottom of this list. I love him too. We will get to him. But we just got to Viggo in The Prophecy. And I mean, you played a clip, Andy, of my favorite line of his when you did your Prophecy review. With the whole, I'm not doing this because I love you, or I can't remember the exact words, but or to save your little bitch, but because two hells is one hell too many. It's just like it's and I love how skeezy he feels. You need to be quiet and turn that down now, please. Mo, you probably can't hear Andy, but he is here. And he's talking to me, and I'll try to repeat things he says, or at least refer to them. Do you have a favorite moment when he played the devil, or is there a reason that he's explicitly one of your favorites? Oh, the I can lay you out and fill your mouth with your mother's feces threat. That one, yeah, his explicit threats are great. The relish with which he eats the heart in the end, it's so juicy. It's like I like the devils for the same reasons, because it's like, well, except for Tom Ellis, because he's more of that charming. He makes me think of a certain vampire from one of my shows, but just happens to be the devil. But it's like Stromera, but Peter and Viggo, it's like they kind of have a little bit in common in that regard. One's just more comedic. So that's pretty awesome. All right, now we're down to, have you seen The Witches of Eastwick? Oh my God. Such a good movie. Jack Nicholson, 1987. His character's name is actually Daryl Horn, I think. But yeah, he's this skeezy guy who seduces Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer, who are all best friends. And they all end up having his kids in the end, but after they defeat him. Like he gets them all pregnant, and it's just it's a kind of gross out dark comedy. It's just his influence over these three women, and they happen to be witches, and he brings their magic out a little bit. So he's good for them in one way and very bad as a whole.
Yeah.
So it's Jack Nicholson, it's Jack Nicholson. There's a great scene in that movie when he's seducing Susan Sarandon. I mean, all three are interesting, but in that scene, Susan Sarandon plays a cellist, a classic cellist. And he shows up at her house to, play a duet with her. He's playing the violin, the devil of the violin. Woohoo! And he's telling her how her bowing sucks, and they play together, and they play, and it's like this buildup of passion just using music, and then she gets up and her hair is all out of order, and he turns around like, huh? And she's got this like look on her face, and she like assaults him pretty much for the seduction. The cello falls on the ground, the sheet music falls on the cello, and it just bursts into flames because the strings are so hot.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's a comedy, so that type of shit happens. Yeah, completely missed. I think Mo said something else. I can't see what it is. Oh, I've got something else here. That's weird. Oh, this. Oh, okay. Never mind. It says this message is held for review. I'm just gonna hit show. I'm not. Oh, just a second, please. What happened? Is everything okay? Are you all right? No, you look all right. Let's stand this up again. Sit down and be calm, or you're going straight to bed. Sorry about that. Who did I miss entirely? Oh yeah, I did see her on the list, but there were so many bedazzleds, and I was like, I don't that I haven't seen the movie. I've seen somebody's review of it because some Stitch Together Pictures does boots to reboots where they compare originals to remakes. And I was like, that just doesn't strike me as anything particularly interesting. But if you think it's interesting, by all means, share. But I okayed that message, so you can tell me what it says now, I think. Yes, thank you. She's absolutely right. And I know she probably can't hear you, but she hates her actual name, so just call her Mo. All right, yes, I did miss Elizabeth Hurley, you're right. Then we've got Robert De Niro, Angel Heart, 1987, which I can't really say much about. I saw it once years ago, and I just remember being kind of bored for that movie. I do have it. I got it at a flea market a couple months ago, but I haven't rewatched it yet. Have you seen Angel Heart? Do you have anything you can comment about for that one? No? Okay, fair enough. I mean, I love De Niro, so it's shocking to me that there'd be a movie I don't like him in. But then again, for me, his pinnacle role was when he played Frankenstein's creation. So it's just then again, you know, I love that movie. I threw it in there just because Jenny O'Hara played the devil in 2010's Devil, Shyamalan, horrible movie. Yeah, horrible movie. I don't even know who Jenny O'Hara is. It's like I don't recognize her from anything else. It was definitely a titular role, so I had to throw it in there, and I have seen the movie. I don't. Yeah, I haven't actually seen this. Do you think it would be apt to potentially connect it to Memento? Because that's all I could think of. Was I had never even really. I knew the name Memento. I knew almost nothing about it, but I did think this makes me think it's like Memento. So if anybody's seen that and can comment, yeah. Because Memento is it's non-linear. Guy with amnesia. You know, he falls asleep every night and forgets everything that happened. So he's following a lot of notes he left for himself to try and solve a mystery. It's either out of order or in reverse order, the way it's told. Okay, yeah, reverse order, yeah. Like I said, haven't seen it, but there was something about that that made me think of the summary I'd heard. Yeah, so then I've got Harvey Keitel in 2000's Little Nicky. I know you don't like those movies. I generally don't like Adam Sandler movies either, but I happen to like Little Nicky and Big Daddy. So I loved Harvey Keitel in that movie. I don't have much to say about his role, you know, being Satan, but I just liked him specifically in that movie. I know further down the list I did add Rodney as well, since I didn't know whether or not to include Rodney Dangerfield, since he played like the devil's dad. you know, like the previous devil. I'm like, should I include that or not? Little Nicky? Cool. I have to assume so as well. I don't know how bad the lag is, so yeah. I'm expecting it to get really bad because it usually does. Here's another favorite of mine, Al Pacino in '97's The Devil's Advocate. Al Pacino at his scenery chewing best. Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, for those of you who can't hear Andy saying that his only problem with The Devil's Advocate is that it was marketed as having the devil in it, and he thinks it would have been done better if they had marketed it more like as being Wall Street, so that way the devil and the supernatural aspects would have been a surprise. I don't specifically remember seeing trailers myself. I just remember watching the movie. So, but I probably did know it was supernatural and horror, which is why I would have picked it up in the first place. And I was probably really into Keanu at the time. Not everybody. There might, I can't remember if a certain person in the chat might have actually, I can't remember if she loves or hates. There's somebody I know, can't remember which person, somebody I know hates Keanu with a passion. But, you know, to each their own. And it's just he has that whole speech at the end, which is just I love it, and then how it ties into the last little line he has in the whole movie before the credits roll. Oh, yeah. It's like there are a few speeches out there that are great. Like you got the one in Return of the King, you got the one in Independence Day, and then you got this one. Like they're like I'm not generally a speeches person, but there are a couple out there that get me. Okay. You're not the person that hates it then. That's fine. Like I said, I couldn't remember which one of my friends hated. I'm in this love-hate thing with him lately. But then again, you know me, I'm kind of a die-hard defender of Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. And he's in that, but I do concede that he's one of the worst things about it. Again, a movie I have not seen, but I did find a clip, was Donald Pleasance in The Greatest Story Ever Told in 1965, but apparently he also played the devil in 1989 in a movie called Paganini Horror, which I am rabid to see this one because I know who Paganini is. And I believe I've mentioned him to you before, but Niccolò Paganini is a classical musician who's kind of the rock star of his day. Like I think it was in the mid to late 1700s, but I could have my dates wrong. He revolutionized violin playing because back then it was like, yeah, if you're like playing a little folk tune, you can be a violinist solo, but otherwise, if you want to be a classic composer and violin player, you have to be in this huge orchestra and you have to be a part of the group, you know, which does take a hell of a lot of talent. You know, synchronized playing, but he revolutionized that. There's a legend that in order to play like the devil, he sold his soul to the devil. Like that's actually a legend about this man. So even though there are other movies, there's a violinist named David Garrett who's played Paganini in a movie. I'm interested in seeing that one too, but not as much. But it's like I want to see that, and I love Donald Pleasance's scene in The Greatest Story Ever Told. It was the scene where Satan tempts Jesus during his 40 days in the desert.
Yes.
And it's so subtle. It actually we'll get to him in a minute because he's further down. But John Ritter, when he plays him, they play him similarly, except John Ritter happens to be playing him in a comedy. You know, because he just shows up and he's just talking to him pleasantly. He's not particularly sinister. He's just saying, like, would you like something to eat? Are you thirsty? You know, he's like, no, I'm fine, thanks, basically. And then he looks out and he's like, look at this. Isn't this beautiful? I can give you all of this. And he's not like seductively tempting him. He's just laying it out on the table and letting Jesus make his own conclusion. And then he doesn't even disappear. The last I saw the clip was just the two of them sitting side by side in the mouth of a cave. And you're going all crazy on me again. Yeah, that's fine. Take your time. Yeah, okay. It's still going a little bit, but it is trying to go away, so I'm sure we're fine. Okay. Wait, did I put it down there twice? Did I put Liam? No, okay, I just squeezed him in there. Sorry, I just happened to see. I'm like, I thought I just added Liam today, so I was confused. I have not seen The Story of Mankind, 1957, start with Vincent Price as the devil. But again, if somebody's going to play the devil, it should be this person right here, right? He's another one of those. And I love Vincent Price. I mean, my son is named Vincent for a reason. You know what I mean? He was named for Vincent Price and Anthony Hopkins. So, and I haven't even seen very much Vincent Price. It's just solely off of his performance in House of Wax that I decided that. Even though I've seen him in a couple of things since. Don't get me wrong, but actually, no. I think I'd seen was it him in 13 Ghosts in the original 13 Ghosts? Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I remember Margaret Hamilton was in that one too. I think, as the harbinger, we'll call her, whatever she is in the movie. She's like the harbinger that's there and then goes away, I think. But yeah, it's like Vincent Price is brilliant. I would love to see him as the devil. Then we get to probably my second favorite devil of all time, period, next to Vigo, Liam Cunningham, 2014, Let Us Pray. And this is such, Let Us Pray turns out to be a horrific love story. Pollyanna McIntosh basically marries the devil at the end, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like he has these lines. He's like, without me, there is no justice. I punish the sinners. That's what I'm here to do. You know? But he brings this other texture to it because it is a love story in the end in a twisted sense. Do you know Let Us Pray?
I know.
Okay. Well, it's a story that takes place in like Scotland, or I think it's Scotland. And Pollyanna McIntosh is in her first day at this new precinct, really tiny town. You know, it's got like two other cops and then the desk sergeant there. And she brings this guy in that was hit by a car, who's completely unhurt, and it's Liam Cunningham, and they put him in a cell because they don't know what else to do with him at the time. And she arrests the guy that hit him. And he starts basically pulling all the sins. Every time somebody touches him, you see bits and pieces of their sins. And then they all get to be revealed in their punishments, and you know, lots of action and gore.
Right.
But he's basically letting them damn themselves. And when you touch her, you find out that she hasn't done anything wrong. When she was a kid, she was abducted by a pervert, and when she was trying to escape, somebody distracted the guy, and that's how she escaped. And it turned out it was the devil. You know, because she was willing to ask the devil for help, and he said yes, basically. And you know, he talks about, yeah, that was me back then, and I've been watching you ever since. Your spirit, you're this, you're that. And then he basically lays it out where do you want to, he promises her vengeance, and she takes it. You know, she's been the upright, upstanding person, and he's not trying to change any of that about her, but he offers her the chance to let him do this for her, and she takes him up on it. And they kind of walk off in the sunset together, so to speak. Walk off into the sunrise, actually. I think you would like the movie in general, in spite of the fact that it sounds like it's like this weird love story. It's that part's actually minimal, you know? Okay, 1946, we've got Claude Rains in Angel on My Shoulder. Now, I would love to see this movie because I love Claude in Phantom of the Opera, and he's just got one of those voices that would so work for the devil. You know? Yeah. Well. Okay. I thought Mo had sent something again. Your microphone is wigging again a bit. We'll just. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. I know it'll go away in a minute or whatever, but yeah. Okay, hang on just a second. I'm gonna look at it because your voice is too powerful. Ah! Dropping magnifying glasses. Yeah, it is a hidden gem. It's like one of the only reasons I got Shudder to begin with was so I could watch that movie. I think I'll be able to hear you again. All right, cool. Yeah, like I was saying, Claude Rains has one of those voices, so it's just like, yeah, that's all. I leave it at that. He could be. Is he general? I thought he was like. I probably just have his background wrong. You sure he's just Welsh? Okay. I mean, for some reason, I know he grew up with a speech impediment, like he had a heavy lisp that took a lot to get over. Like he had a stutter or a heavy lisp or something. But I don't know. For some reason, I thought he was Cockney, but I could be wrong. Okay. Oh, okay. So, is he from London? He's in London. You put on the accent and everything. Ah, great. Okay, finally we got to John Ritter, and I can talk about this for a minute. In 1980, he was in a movie called Holy Moses, and my note here is just okay. Only scene I've seen of it. Oh, shush, you silly pupper. I'm not sure what the context of the scene is, but it looks like somebody who's leaving Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, the city of Sodom is the one where everybody turned into like pillar of salt and everything, I think, right? Well, just wait, but okay. But I think they mentioned pillars of salt in that scene. That's why I was. But there's somebody who's just left that city or something like that that's going on, and the devil is just sitting there. You know, it doesn't look like he appeared. Well, he probably did appear, but it. You remember how when you were reviewing the prophecy, you said it looked like the Elias Koteas' character just seemed to be a guy who just happened to be at the right place at the right time to get the wrong information.
Yeah.
That's what this scene felt like to me. Like whoever that other character was just happened to be there when the devil was there to do his job, because that's how he treats it. And he's like, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. He's like, why would I do that? Why would I tempt you? Why would I do this? There's a whole bunch of damn souls coming to me right now. I'm here to pick them up, is essentially what he says. He doesn't say that it's that wily or that funny either for a comedy, you know?
Yeah.
But it's like, I liked that. How it was just like, dude, I'm just a guy sitting here doing a job. And I loved it because, you know, it doesn't take away who the devil's supposed to be in myth, but he's also just like, I don't need to work at this. You guys do it all very well on your own. You know? All right. Well, I already talked about Rodney Dangerfield a little bit, and I don't have much to say about him and Little Nicky. It's Rodney Dangerfield. He's kind of the same all over the place. I never liked him really. So, but then I've got one of my other favorite actors here. I haven't seen this movie, but George C. Scott. And I've seen him in 2 movies, really. I've seen him in Firestarter, where he was kind of an overacting hot mess. And then I saw him as Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, which is my favorite Christmas Carol out there. And it would be very interesting to see him in 1991's A Smile in the Dark, because I think he's another one that could pull it off, but I don't know what his portrayal would be. I haven't seen an actual clip of that one.
Yeah.
Then we get to a devil that I thought was an interesting choice when I saw it. Will Smith. In 2014, he was in a movie called A Winter's Tale. And he has a relatively small role. A Winter's Tale is a very long movie, and he has like maybe 6 minutes of screen time in it, in 2 separate scenes. But it's just like he's Will Smith, but he's a little bit more serious. He's a more soft-spoken dude. And he's just talking to this demon played by Russell Crowe. Just like almost a brother in arms, but clearly a subordinate. Like just yes. No, I don't think so. Huh. Bagger Vance, The Legend of Bagger Vance. I've heard of the movie. I'd never felt any need to see that one, but I do like Will Smith, so it sounds like a movie I'd now probably be into, especially thinking of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so Andy's telling me that Will Smith was in The Legend of Bagger Vance, which is based on a Hindu sacred text called Bhagavad Gita, and basically the character is Bagger, right? Say that Bhagavan, aka Bagger Vance, and Will Smith basically plays that Krishna. Yeah, that sounds neat. Yeah, I mean, his role as the devil was interesting. He had a few Will Smith funny lines, but nothing too out there and hilarious. It was took itself way too seriously. But a little thing I liked about his role was he was basically a guy sitting in a dark room with a light bulb overhead. Like every time they brought his scene in, he like turned a light bulb on over his head or something like that. And then when he had to get up and do his business, like twice, Russell Crowe wants to ask him permission to do something he's not supposed to do. So can you break this rule and let me do this? And both times he gets up so they can do it all courtroom official type. And behind him, his shadow is in the form of a demon devil. But it's just Will Smith, So that was kind of cool to me. Smaller role, a little bit more subtle, except at one point he goes off, like pissed off on Russell Crowe's character, and he gets to do the whole Gandalf under the influence of the ring type of a thing. Just for a minute,
Yeah.
We talked about Constantine already, because I thought it would be smart to open strong. I'm not sure how to pronounce this last name. Gavin? Gavin? Okay, yeah. John Gavin in 1989's The Phantom of the Opera. This is the horror movie slasher fic with Robert Englund. Yes. Which one sounds interesting? Let me know. We just talked about 2 things. Probably not the one I was just talking about, because I don't think that's her style at all. But John Gavin happens to be a little person, so a midget, and I had to look him up in the cast list, because this version, Eric Dessler, the Phantom, is living out his own Faustian legend. So he sold his soul to the devil for his music to be immortal. And then when he signed the paperwork, the devil screwed up his face big time and then said, "The world will love you for your music, but that is all they will love you for." And it turned out his music wasn't immortal, he was. But rather like in The Phantom of the Paradise, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but same thing. another Faustian legend. We'll talk about that a little further down. If you destroy his music, you can destroy him. So it's kind of like the breaking of the contract in a way.
Right.
But you know, this being, yeah, I'm not going to get into the Phantom of the Opera details. We'll be here all night. But I thought it was interesting how they picked a little person. You know, but I did have to look it up because I was like, well, is this an equivalent to Mephistopheles or is this an equivalent to the devil? Because there is a slight difference, at least. Yeah, well, I don't really know the differences, so I was saying there is a difference. I just didn't know how big or slight. So, yeah, it's like no one exists. I don't think I did put down Paul Williams, did I? So I guess that's it for the Devils. But yeah, I was gonna put Paul Williams down because it's the same thing as the slasher one, except remember a few days ago when I was asking your opinion on this, I didn't know whether to include implied devils or things that were kind of close enough. I had forgotten for a split second that Paul Williams actually did literally play the devil, because he plays the Mephistopheles character like in Faust in the Phantom of the Paradise, the guy who you know, makes the Phantom character sell his soul to him. But he has also made his own Faustian deal, and we see in a Dorian Gray video type thing, aka flashback, that he was going to kill himself when he was a teenager because he wanted to die young and beautiful, and the devil appeared to him and made the deal that he could stay young and beautiful forever. You know, so he did play both roles. He played devil and Mephistopheles. You know? So is there anybody I missed or anybody you would like to talk about in particular, or no? Okay. Well, oh, yeah. Yes, please tell me about Doctor Who's devil. I've only seen the one Blink. Is that the one you shared with me? Blink? Okay, creature older than time, technically devil, technically not devil. All right. Oh, okay. So something that's just had the name stapled on. Okay. Okay. Lives on a planet orbiting a black hole. Yeah, that would be impossible, but this is Doctor Who. It's full of the impossible, to my understanding. Mhm. Right. Okay. Event Horizon, like, oh, you got my attention now. What are the names of those two episodes so I could share them? The Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit. Okay, we will check those out. I look forward to you sending me those links. Mo just brought up a very good one. It took me a second to read it, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Black Phillip in The Witch. I don't think you've seen The Witch. But spoiler alert, the devil and witches are real. And through the whole course, it's just very atmospheric. Like, this is like if you've seen a lot of 1970s movies, it made me think of a lot of those, except it's like without all the exploitation details. Very atmospheric, very period correct. I mean, the guy researched for 5 years to get all as much as he could correct about the era and the way they talked and the religion and all that. But in the movie, there is a black goat on the farm of the family in the movie called Black Phillip. And there are these two twin children running around that are singing praises to him and stuff like that, but being basically bratty children. But if you listen to the song they're singing, it's actually a lot about how he is the king and an influencer and this and that, or at least as far as I can remember.
Right.
And then in the very, very end, when the girl who's been accused of being the witch is the last girl standing, the survivor girl, she goes and talks to the sheep and demands to know the goat, sorry, and demands to know if he's real. And when it seems like she's just she turns her back and is about to finally give up and walk away, and then there's just this voice like, "What do you want from me?" And you never really see anything clearly because you don't see the goat again. They don't like zoom in on its face when it's talking. But he's like, "Would you like to live deliciously?" and this and that. And she signs his book, but she's like, "I cannot read or write." And he says, "I will guide your hand." And all you see is like this dark silhouette behind her. So it's just a performance of a voice, but
Right.
it's very Puritan Satan. You know what I mean? And it is glorious. And it's like the last couple of minutes of the movie. It's freaking awesome. Thank you for reminding me of that one. That was such a good one. I would have thought it because I mean, they don't mention him as Satan. He's just Black Phillip, you know, which probably has a equal connotation. But why would a religious family name their goat Black Phillip? So I'm probably wrong about that. Except for the association of goats with the devil, period. Right. I've got some gods here. A few of them are voiceovers, like Charlton Heston and the Ten Commandments. I don't know. It just amazes me that, somebody so associated with the NRA played God.
Okay.
Val Kilmer for the Prince of Egypt, I thought was interesting how they just used the voice of the hero of the movie. That made sense to me. It made me think of Meet Joe Black because Anthony Hopkins' voice actually he does the voice of death until he shows up as Brad Pitt.
Right.
Yeah, so Whoopi Goldberg has played God twice. In 2002, she was in It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie, and if I'm remembering this correctly, that's the one that was It's a Wonderful Life, but with Muppets.
Right.
And she, yes. I have not seen the actual actor, so thank you for telling me that. I will have to look up that actor. How did you say Wahab? Wahab. Okay, Wahab. I misheard you, that's all. Or okay. Or Daniel Chaudhry. Oh, Chowry. Okay. Yeah, I could see this a little better earlier, but now it's just like nope. All right, cool. You send me those pictures and I'll check those out. She also played God in a movie, Kate Hudson movie called A Little Bit of Heaven. That movie I saw in 2011, roughly when it came out. It's okay. It's just some sweet, fluffy schlock. It just happens to be about a character who is told by God that she's dying of cancer, so she needs to get her affairs in order because she can take treatment but it won't work. It's like for whatever reason, when she like passed out or had an accident or whatever, God just decides to let her know you're gonna die. And she does. She just it's a not a minor role, but it's not a huge role either.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I gotta turn my magnifier off and stuff for a second so I can check this out. Okay, where's the chat room? The thing always disappeared. Ah! It disappeared on me. Why are you doing this? It's not letting me do anything. Why are you being a pain in my butt? There we go. Okay, there we go. It's probably just gonna take a hot minute. Sorry guys, you're trying to share the picture with me. Open image. I've got like 6 things open right now, so things take forever. You know, he actually looks a little bit like Tom Ellis. Like, he doesn't look exactly like Tom Ellis by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got a similar look to him from Lucifer. So, yeah, he does look like somebody you might, yeah, I could see it, especially if you got rid of the full-on facial hair and gave him a slightly different look. I can understand that. I could agree with that. What did I just do? I think I just clicked on something I didn't want to click on. I do not want to end the stream. Leave site, cancel. I must have hit something by accident. Yeah. Yeah, it's just that I think I went to close the picture and ended up closing something else. Okay. Okay, who else do I have up other than Whippy? My personal, well, yeah, I've already talked about George Burns, and I haven't seen the movies, the 3 movies where he played the god. I can't comment. But my favorite god, Morgan Freeman. And when you think about it, Morgan Freeman has kind of been playing God for a while now. Obviously, I don't mean that literally. It's just everybody loves this man's voice, and he's used for so many documentaries and voiceover stuff. It's just he's kind of this universal voice now, you know?
Yeah. Very much.
And, you know, obviously this was in Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty. Vinny, please stop making that noise. And I'm just such a big fan. He wants to go to bed. I'm such a big fan of Morgan's, period. You know, this is one of the people I'm like, please don't let me ever, ever, ever hear something bad about this guy, because I want to love this man. I want to keep loving this man. You know me, I'm a fan of the old guard in terms of actors, so he's one of them. All right, I've got, well, yeah, Rodney Dangerfield does not just play the devil or the devil's dad, depending on how you look at it. He also played God in Angels with Angel in 2005. No idea what that is, but the fact that he's played both I thought was interesting, kind of like George Burns. And then we come to the last one on my list of people who have played the devil, which I thought was the most, excuse me? Alanis Morissette, 1999, Dogma. I did get to see a clip of this, and the role was basically stand there and look pretty while Alan Rickman does all the fucking work. And I'm cool with that. Alan Rickman on screen chewing up the scenery, I am completely good with. It's just bring it on. And that's one of the people that it's like, your mic's going crazy again. Sorry, guys, I'm listening to a sudden hailstorm on my speaker. Having technical difficulties. It's slowly going away. Oh, are we fixed? Yay! That one was extended, but you know, it happens. That's okay. It's just I couldn't talk because I couldn't hear myself. So it's like, hang on, guys. I saw that Mo posted something. He also would have made a good god. He would have done both very well, if you ask me. But yes, and he was very upset about that by the end. You know, he had a massive thing about people referring to him as Severus Snape. Like, it's like he didn't want people shouting Snape when he was at the press conferences and the premieres. He didn't like that. I'm like, you're dealing with kids. Give them a break. You know? He says, I don't know if you guys can hear him. He says, Alan Rickman once said something along the lines of, I don't play villains, I play very interesting people. And this is pretty much true. I mean, the sheriff is a very interesting character. You know, Hans Gruber is a very interesting character. And somehow, on the other side of things, he managed to make Colonel Christopher Brandon a very interesting character. It's hard to take a Jane Austen character and make them interesting because they're nothing but bland cardboard. I can't even read a Jane Austen book, and I've tried. Like, the movies I love because, you know, they're actually colorful. They're there. They're fleshed, but I can't read the books. Actually, one of my all-time performances of him was as Colonel Christopher Brandon. I know you've heard me say this a million times. I'm saying it for the rest of the world. Actually, you and Mo would know this too. I get on these binges where suddenly I'll just be in the mood for one thing and I will not stop watching it. I was going through a phase once where I watched all the Harry Potters and Sense and Sensibility like 3 or 4 times in a week because, you know, I have nothing better to do with my life. And I ended up having a dream that was some sort of weird mosh where it's like I was talking to Snape, but because I had Christopher Brandon on the mind, it was like that personality. Yeah, it was this weird combination. I'm not going to go into what the dream entailed. It wasn't anything super weird, but I do have generally super weird dreams. But it wasn't like, you know, sexual or anything. It was just a weird dream. I've had weird sexual dreams about characters, and that was not one of them. We've all had them. Why deny it? Okay, so I have a list here now of people who I'd like to see play God or the devil. And please, everybody, feel free, including you, Andy, throw names in there, you know? But I've got Carrie Elways. What I can't decide is who would I want him to play. I'm thinking I'd probably want him to play like a devil. Did he? He played Ted Bundy. Well, that's not quite the same as the devil, but he's in the same area code, I guess. It's the same area code, yeah. I got Anthony Hopkins, who I would love to see play either or both. And the man, I know the man doesn't got much time. I'm gonna be wrecked when that man leaves us. Ugh. It's just he's got the sweet side and he's got the horrible side, so he would just do so well in either role. I think Michael Caine is another one who could do either role. I would prefer to see him as the devil with his full-on Cockney accent. I don't know why. And, you know, he's not one of those actors who gave up his Cockney accent. He still has it. It's just a little watered down over the years. Yes. Yeah, that would be fun. Not Rutger Hauer now, but maybe, you know, Rutger Hauer like closer to his Blade Runner days. I've seen Rutger Hauer play like Dracula and other vampire characters at least 4 times, so the devil wouldn't be a huge stretch. You'd just have to take away the stupid or comedy out of it. Oh, fucking hell. You know he essentially did, right? I mean, there's a reason that Hannibal was the way he was in the show. But I don't think Mo has seen very much of Hannibal. She came up to visit me a few years ago and watched a few episodes of season 1 with me because I had it. She doesn't even have regular cable really, you know, so she did not have the chance to see that one. But yeah, actually, when he was given the role of Lecter, he understood he was basically playing the devil. He was playing the manipulator and the tempter. Yeah. So, but yes, I would still watch a movie where he just flat out played the devil. I would watch it. Ian McKellen again could do both. practically has in some way, shape, or form. After Pupil, he was pretty devilish in that one, even though he was, you know, a Nazi. I don't know why, but I would like to see Liev Schreiber play the devil. You know who Liev is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just double checking. Yes. Donald Sutherland. I know he's a complete dick, and he practically has played the devil as well, based on some of the roles he's played. But he could be a good devil. His would probably come across something more like Donald Pleasance's or something, but who knows? Steve Martin. I'd love to see him in the comedy of it. For a change of pace, I'd love to see Tom Hanks play God or the devil. Like God, it would be like, oh, that's Tom Hanks for you. But if he played, it is a perfect juxtaposition. You're right, and that's why I want to see it. It's like I've seen him play a bit of a dick, you know, but I've never seen him play a villain. And I'm sure that's his manager and Hollywood's fault, because once you get somebody in a certain niche, it's like that, don't ruin that image. They don't want that image ruined. I mean, that's one of the reasons they cast him for Philadelphia, and he says it in the behind the scenes for that movie. He's like, he's playing a gay man with AIDS. You know, even when he played that role, he's still, in general, Hollywood would have been vilified for that.
Yeah.
But he was like, but oh, this character is being played by sweet little Tommy Hanks. He said that about himself. So it was much more inoffensive that way. He understood why he was cast. He had the image and the inoffensiveness to do it. And then he played Walt Disney, and now he's clearly stretching his ability, because Walt Disney was an ass in real life. So I think he could do it. I would love to see Christopher Walken play the devil. Yes, he was. It would just be playing Gabriel, but up a step. And that would be fine by me. Just give him the name Satan. It would still work, you know? And last but not least, because I had to, and I'm going to get burned for this one, but Kevin Spacey. It would be considered apt now, I'm sure. Fuck that. Oh my goodness. Mo, I love that. Rebecca De Mornay. Oh yes, please. Rebecca De Mornay as a female devil. That would be amazing. It would be. She hit the nail on the head with that one. That's perfect. I loved her in Hand That Rocks the Cradle. I've seen her in. I saw her in an erotic thriller with Antonio Banderas called Never Talk to Strangers. And she was really good in that one, because she was playing this innocent person that was being stalked, but it turns out she was stalking herself because she had MPD.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the movie's kind of horrible in a good, you know, so bad it's good kind of way, but it's like that. And she played she played Lady De Winter in The Three Musketeers. Disney's The Three Musketeers. And that was a very, even though, I'm trying to remember that movie, she struck me as a very female Satan type of character in that one. Because, you know, she's a woman that killed her husband, and she's going to be hung for it, and one of the musketeers saved her ass.
Yes.
And then, you know, all that stuff. But it's like she, especially with her and Tim Curry together in their scenes, it was like, yeah, the two of them together were good devils. Good devil characters. She'd be amazing. While we're here, you mentioned The Devil and Daniel Webster to me. And I had seen the title a few times. I have a rough idea of what that one's about, but I don't know the story. I haven't seen any version of that one. So, can you tell me a little bit about that one, what that one's kind of about? Because I saw like 6 versions of it listed on the list of devils. Yeah, is it a Faustian thing, or is it something completely different? I apologize for those of you who can't hear him. I will try to repeat things, but oh, Murnau, Nosferatu. Okay, the original one. I take it you're talking about then. Like, okay, F.W. Murnau directed the original. Okay, Jonathan Rhys Myers is the devil. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, he kind of did in his short-lived run as Dracula. Very, very similar, just with fangs. Oh, okay. Okay, so it is a version of House. Thank you. Yes, that's kind of all I needed to know, more or less, because I kind of more or less know the story of Faust. My problem is I don't know the original-ish version. I know so many modern interpretations. You know, like my two different family opera-based ones that have Faustian parts in them.
Yeah.
And I know some of the opera by Gounod. God, I can never figure out how to pronounce the names. Yeah, Jonathan Rhys Davies. He was a sexy as hell Dracula, but I can't remember anything else he's been in, so I can't judge whether I think he'd be able to play the devil. I just he played a good TV Dracula. Oh no, I'm Myers, John Rhys Myers, or am I? Yeah, Myers. Myers. Sorry, James Spader. Remind me who James Spader is. I hate the comic book movies. It's like I have basically stuck to mostly the Batman stuff. I haven't really watched much. I mean, it's like I think I saw one of the Superman movies, and I don't even remember which one. I just remember him having to reverse the rotation of the world to save Lois Lane because she died in a rock slide. That's all I remember. That's okay. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's like I knew it was a Christopher Reeve one, but that was all I could remember. It's like I saw that one. I saw Superman Returns. I saw most of Man of Steel, except it was a really shitty, scratched up copy. So I missed a lot of it. No, I didn't. Um, Kevin Costner could be one or the other. He, the last thing I know he was in was Man of Steel. Well, you know what? He was a brilliant actor in his day, but I can understand why nobody wants to work with him. The man he's worse than La Carlotta. I mean, he's such a prima donna. I mean, he's the reason that Waterworld turned into the hot mess it did. Even though I love Waterworld. Too, I love Waterworld. Who would have played him? Bill Paxton. Yes, Bill Paxton is the devil. I could see it. I liked his friendlier roles, but I could see it. You know, I could see it mostly because of frailty. I mean, he played an ultimately good guy in that, but because of the way that movie was made, there was such ambiguity to it until the last scene or so.
Yeah.
That it was like you're not sure, and that's the type of, you know. Okay, guy, he would have been good as either. Absolutely. Again, I mean, he's been in a few dramas, a few thrillers. He's played a couple of bad guys and ambiguous guys, so he absolutely could do it either way. My best version of him to tell you how good of a devil he would be, he was in a version of Law and Order SVU, and he was the bad guy in that one. And he was amazing in that role. I mean, you should look that particular episode up. If I can find the name of it, I'll let you know. Yeah, 1 hour photo was amazing. But he played more of In that one, he makes me think more of Blaze from the Stephen King story Blaze. You probably haven't read it, but Blaze is a simpleton. You know, he just does a lot of bad things because he's too naive to know otherwise, even if he knows he's doing some bad things. Like there's a kidnapping in it. He knows kidnapping's bad, but he's not trying to be a bad guy.
Okay.
Damon Salvatore is talking to me again. Oh, hang on. My husband's asking me how the stream went. See, this is the support I get. Still, just so he doesn't worry if I don't answer.
Okay.
Still going. I can't judge. I haven't seen enough with him. What?
How to spell Mario?
How many times have I had to tell you?
R?
M-A.
Ah!
You're smarter than this. Stop pulling my leg. I'm shivering, guys, so give me a few seconds to go put jacket on.
Okay.
Oh my. Mario.
Is it all right?
That's not how to spell Mario.
M-A-R-I.
N-A.
All right. Sorry about that. You know, I keep thinking of Chris Hemsworth for some reason, but I can't decide why that name keeps popping in my head. I'm like, would he play God? Would he play the devil? Could he be either? Technically. But I can't quite count that one in the same context of what we've been looking at. You know what I mean? But if we want to go that extreme, we can talk about who the hell would play an amazing Hades, because Hades is completely different from the devil if you're going to the classical texts. You know what I mean? Oh, let's see. Mo, you came up with an amazing female. Who else could play God or the devil that's a female, huh? Maybe Charlize Theron? I don't know. She could play either or, maybe. Well, I've named all the names, so I'm gonna just close the Word program off. So I don't have to save any changes. Okay. Yeah, you say she is. I don't know. Yeah, she could do either. You're right. I love Charlize. It's like I think the first thing I saw her in was Mighty Joe Young, and I practically fell. I had a big girl crush on that woman. I was like, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And she's played some devilishly wonderful roles. I don't think I've seen her be like a Bill. Well, no, she played Eileen Wuornos, but I keep forgetting that was her. It's just she stepped out of herself so well in Monster. Yeah, she's great in that. What about Jeremy Irons as the devil? So? I remember seeing him in Man in the Iron Mask, and yes, I was already familiar with. I knew that would get her attention. I got to tell you this story about me, Jeremy Irons. Before The Lion King came out, I did not know it was Die Hard 2 at the time. But I was in the kitchen, and my dad was watching Die Hard 2. And, they're on the phone, and this voice, Simon says, blah, 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 comes over the speakers of the TV. And that voice scared the ever-living shit out of me. That voice left an impression. And then when The Lion King came out, it scared me again because I was like, oh my God, it's the Simon Says guy. Get me out of here. And it was just from hearing his voice briefly when I was like making myself a sandwich in the kitchen or something, So it's like that, and then seeing him play the Jesuit priest who wants to kill the French king in Man in the Iron Mask. Yeah, I could see it. He could be the devil. Forget the Scar reference, I mean, that adds to it, but Huh? Oh, all right. Thank you. Yeah. See, I hadn't really seen very many. That's right, because the second one was the airport. My bad. My bad. I haven't even seen the second one. So yeah, second one doesn't even exist for me because I haven't seen it. I know about it, but I haven't seen it, so it just doesn't come into my mind. Oh, cool. Yeah, I have one and two, but still haven't watched the second one because I bought the second one by. I bought one of them by accident because I saw Die Hard, and it's like with a Vengeance was like really really tiny, or whichever one it is. Maybe it's the third. I don't even know if it's the second or third one, but whichever one it is. Oh, oh, good. Then I have the right ones. But it was so tiny that I didn't see the subtitle when I thought I was buying the first one. So, now I have the two good ones at least, for my understanding. Still haven't watched the third one yet. It's just sitting in my cabinet, but this is my problem with being addicted to DVDs. I buy all these movies and I never watch them, even though I fully intend to when I buy them. Such a DVD hoarder. I was thinking of somebody else. Oh yeah. You know who else scared the shit out of me and I could absolutely see playing the devil? Maximilian Schell. Do you know who that is? Who's Ian McShane? Here, I can look it up. Microphones work. Ian McShane. The things I.
According to Wikipedia, Shane Lee, known professionally as Shane Dawson, is an American YouTuber, author, sketch comedian, actor, film director, media personality, and musician.
Shut up. Yeah, well, it obviously heard wrong. Oh, well, whatever. Okay. All right, fair enough. I'm still in love with that clip you sent me, by the way. It's like, it's out of context awesome. I want to see it more. And it definitely caught the second I saw those angular features of the lovely Christian Chenoweth. I was like, I have to watch this. Okay, cool. And that's him right there in the main. Okay, okay, cool. Who is he in that one again? Who does he play? Mr. Wednesday. Okay. Okay, tell me, he's one of the top Olympians, or huh? One of the old gods, like Odin or something, or like, okay. Yeah. Ah, okay, from Odin's Day. Okay, awesome. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out if his name in the Dresden Files, if Odin's name in the Dresden Files has any merit, because he's Kris Kringle, aka Santa Claus, aka Odin. Well, actually, it hasn't been confirmed that he's Odin, but here he's like, I think he's Odin, But the name he goes by in the human world is Vadarung, and I don't know if that has any contextual meaning, Oh my goodness, you're coming up with such good names here, Mo. Bill Nighy, yes, he is another one I think could play God as well. For the record, but I've seen him in some real sweet roles. Like he's been his biggest sweetheart. He could play that. His God would be very much like Morgan Freeman's. Your microphone's slipping out again, although I'm sure you know. I would like to see him as the devil. I mean, I loved him as Victor, which to me was very Lucifer-like in some ways. So, what else can we think of? Mo, were you here earlier when I mentioned that Lance Hendrickson played the devil? last year in a movie, or 2 years ago, maybe. Are you back with me, Andy? Almost. Yeah. Okay. Just checking because I didn't think you didn't talk for a while, so I didn't know you were here. Fair enough. um. Yeah. So it's like these are the movies. These are the recommendations or things I want to see. You lost signal? All right. Well, turn it off and get ready for bed then, okay? Because it's getting a little bit. Well, let me see. Yeah, it's getting there. So why don't you go ahead and listen to Alexa for a while, okay? Brush your teeth.
I don't think she'll let me.
Well, you might be right. Okay.
Let me just Alexa.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. We can
Still works.
All right. So Andy's saying he's gonna have to go.
You still.
So I guess we can close this up then, because I'm running out of things to say, but I've had a blast talking about this. And please, if you come in after the stream's been watched and you got comments and suggestions, and put them in the comments, by all means. Do the like, comment, subscribing thing. Could always use more subscribers. Everybody's greedy, aren't we? Yes, ring the bell. Definitely. I try to upload things to my Facebook page when I load, so people who aren't getting it because YouTube is an idiot, can know on my page. And I have a poll up on my page too. It's going to be ending in a couple of days, but I do have a poll for what movie I might be able to review next. But I might mix both of them and take your suggestion and do the craft. Because I was like, you know what? Yeah, the craft needs a review. I might not do it next month, but soonish. And thank you for helping be my moderator-ish and my reader. I'll come there in a minute, Vinny. Spider, he's got arachnophobia like you wouldn't believe. He's afraid of everything sometimes. But kids, just step outside of the room and wait for me. For crying out loud. All right, I had a blast, everyone. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for helping me, Andy. And I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Bye, Andy. All right, I'm going to hit my stop streaming. Bye-bye.